Hello and welcome to my chemical-free product workshop. Today's topic is how to make your own toothpaste. I appreciate your attending. My name is Andrea and I'll be guiding you through today's class. So I'm always curious, how did you hear about today's class and where are you joining in from? You can let me know in the comments below. It just gives me an idea of how our community is growing throughout the world. And I very much appreciate your sharing. So, a little about me. I'm calling in from Maryland, which is on the eastern coast of the United States. And I'm a wife and mother of 4. My family and I, each day we live with 12 healthy habits in order to enjoy a better quality of life, and also to support the success of all that God calls us to do. And because these habits have been so transformative to our lives, I do my best to share guidance on how to both implement and stick with each of these healthy habits so that we can all enjoy truly thriving lives together. So I'll share more about the other videos and workbooks, classes, and support groups that I offer throughout the week. But for now, I do want to go ahead and jump right into today's class. Our goal today is to make our own non-toxic toothpaste. While we're together today, we'll learn about the toxins in the average toothpaste brands. We'll discover the health and beauty benefits of natural ingredients for oral care. We'll mix our own toothpaste using suggested proportions. And of course, we'll grow in empowerment, knowing that we have greater control over our toothpaste options. So the ingredients you'll want to have is some coconut oil. It's important to do coconut oil because it's something that gets harder when it's cool and at room temperature. And you'll need that to make sure it's not drippy. Then you'll also want to make sure that you have baking soda. So these are the 2 main ingredients, is the coconut oil and the baking soda. So this one, you'll also want to make sure that you have, if you'd like to experiment, these are activated charcoal, and they can basically help to get rid of stains, but I'll talk more about that in a little while. And then you also have like some way to get the toothpaste out of there. You can use your finger if you'd like. I wouldn't suggest just sticking your toothbrush in it because we want to make sure we can keep it clean. So these are just basically like wooden sticks. You can just use popsicle sticks, whatever you'd like to be able to get it out. It can be a spoon, but yeah, something to get it out of the container each day. And then this I really like is peppermint flavor. This is basically a food flavoring, peppermint flavor. I have used essential oil in the past, the peppermint essential oil, but I feel like this is more of like a food grade thing, so I stick with this these days. And you'll also want to have some type of measuring cup. If you're going to make a huge batch, so you have a really big family, or if you want to share some with family members, then you'll want to use a larger spoon. It's just going to be based off of Scoop, the recipe. But if you're just going to try to experiment right now to see what it tastes like, see if you like it, then just use a small little teeny spoon and you can just do little scoops. And then you'll need a mixing spoon. In some place that you want to keep it, I actually usually just mix it in the container. If you want to mix it someplace else and then transfer it, that's up to you. But I tend to just mix it right in there. It's just easier and one less step. So if you're not really into peppermint, you can use some cinnamon essential oil too. That would work just fine if you want that cinnamony taste to your toothpaste. So as far as activated charcoal and the coconut oil, these are things that are considered to be tree nuts. So obviously coconut oil comes from a tree nut, but activated charcoal is often made from the shells, from the charred shells of coconuts. So if you have any type of tree nut allergy, I'm real serious, make sure that you consider or maybe do like an allergy test or something before you try to use these, because I want to make sure everybody's completely safe. If for some reason you're not going to try the coconut oil because you do have a concern, there are other oils that harden at room temperature. I think palm oil is one of them. I haven't tried it myself, but maybe I'll give that a try just so I can see if I can recommend it. But I know palm oil actually also hardens at room temperature as well. So let's start by talking about some of the functionalities of these natural toothpaste ingredients, as well as sharing some of the dangers of many of the store-bought toothpastes. Then after that, I'll share some of the proportions that you'll need to mix, and then we can go ahead and start giving some of these recipes a try. Keep in mind, it does not have to be perfect. When mixing natural ingredients, you can eyeball it, that's just fine. And experimenting is one of the funnest ways to create your own natural products, so just have fun with it. So as far as these toxins, things like fluoride, which is often found in toothpaste, is a neurological toxin, and it's also an endocrine disruptor. So we want to avoid fluoride. There's also carcinogens, which are things that are known to cause cancer, and things like aspartame and carinogen, which are often found in toothpaste, can be carcinogens. So we want to make sure we stay away from those as well. All right, so let's talk about the good stuff. Let's talk about these healthy ingredients. So our skin is very absorbent, and it only takes 26 seconds to absorb things on our skin. We can also imagine just about how much our mouth is going to be taking in, since it's part of our digestive system. So these are the types of ingredients we want to use, and here are some ideas on how you might want to use them and what you might want to use in more abundance based off of what they can do for you. So baking soda. Baking soda is the deodorizer. This is what's going to keep you fresh. It's very powerful and it is very effective. You do want to make sure you don't add too much baking soda because it is powerful and it can be basic, so it can be corrosive. So you have to not add too much of this because we want to make sure that we're not irritating any skin around the mouth. So as far as the olive oil is great because it's often used in something called oil pulling. So you can use the olive oil as a mouthwash if you'd like to, with a little bit of water in your mouth and just swish. It helps to clean out the mouth. It's actually a good antibacterial. So coconut oil, yes, who knew? Good antibacterial. So that can be used as a mouthwash. And then it also really just helps to hold the whole toothpaste together, really. The activated charcoal, as I mentioned before, so these little capsules are going to be able to help to remove stains from your teeth. So if you want to remove any staining, this is really helpful. It's a little bit, like a very fine, rough texture. You're not going to feel it with your fingertips, but it's something that does help scrub. So since it is very effective, you don't want to use this every day. This is something you want to use once a week, maybe twice a month or something like that. Just have a little small portion of this someplace, and don't use this too much because otherwise it could start rubbing away at the enamel. We don't want that. So just once or twice a month, once a week or something like that, you should be good. And again, keep in mind, made of coconut shells. So be careful with that one if you have any tree nut allergies. The peppermint essential oil or the cinnamon essential oil, these are really just for flavor. Not necessary, but helpful, and it makes it kind of like a nice experience to brush. So you want to make sure that you have good proportions. So I suggest half and half. This is what I usually do. Half of the coconut oil and half of the baking soda. Again, if you feel like you have very sensitive skin, you can do less on the baking soda. So basically 1 scoop of the coconut oil and 1 scoop of the baking soda, whichever utensil you're using. If you're going to use a little teeny one, same thing. 1 scoop coconut oil, 1 scoop of the baking soda, and just mix it together half and half. If you think that you might have sensitive skin and you want to be careful, if you start to notice that it is irritating, then you want to do 2 scoops of the coconut oil and then just 1 scoop of the baking soda. So it would be twice as much of the coconut oil than the baking soda. So if you do decide that you want to use the charcoal, you can just add 1 capsule to about a half cup of product. So basically, if you have a 1/4 cup measure, you would do 1/4 cup of the oil and 1/4 cup of the baking soda, and then just use 1 of these. Just 1 little capsule and mix that in. All right, so I usually do myself a favor and I pour in the baking soda first, and this one has like little lines on it, so that makes it easier. Just pour in the baking soda, and then I pour in the coconut oil. And again, you seem eyeballing it. Don't feel bad. You don't have to always messy up all your dishes. That's about the same, I think. So just place that in there. It was so messy. So you're gonna wanna have like a napkin or something to try to clean a little bit. But yeah, and then you just mix it together. So you notice how the coconut milk oil is very thick. That's at room temperature. That's what you want. You don't want to preheat this. It's not necessary or helpful for this recipe. So just stir that up, and I'll say flavor to taste. Let's just say flavor to taste. Not too much. Start off small. Just a few drops at a time. And just stir that up. I try not to fill it more than halfway full because it just makes it easier. Again, this can get a little bit messy. It's all right if it does. Just simply, so you want it to be nice, just simply wipe around the edge with some type of cloth before you put it in the fridge to get hard. And you want to put it in the fridge to get hard because that helps it to all come together in case it's a little bit warm in your house. And once it gets hard, it usually stays that way for quite some time. You don't want it to get too hard. I would suggest just leave it in the fridge for maybe like a few minutes, maybe like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and that should be enough. I already actually have one in there for you. I'm like the ladies who would have the food in the oven in those cooking shows. I always enjoyed those as a child. So, all right, then this one I filled very high because I knew we were going to be using this straight away. And you can just put your little stick in there. If you put it in the fridge for too long, you can't put the stick in right away, but that's okay. It'll get back to room temperature and then you can stick it in there. If it's too hard, don't worry. It'll come back to room temperature and be soft again. All right, so you can just stick that in there. And ta-da! Now you have your toothpaste. Dun, dun, dun. And don't worry, I know mine's little, but I didn't want to use too many ingredients since we already have one. I don't want to waste. But I wanted to give you an idea of how it comes together and see what the textures look like. All right, so you may have noticed that I said earlier that my family and I, we live with 12 healthy habits in order to enjoy a better quality of life. So then chemical-free living is just one of the 12. So we basically embrace all of these healthy habits so that we can have less of the bad habits that would sabotage our efforts to obey God, and more good habits that will support our success as we aim to do all that Yahweh called us to do. So for each of these habits, I offer things like videos and workbooks and classes and support groups to help you implement and stick with each of your healthy habits. So if you could use guidance with this or any of the healthy habits, just know that I'm here to guide you, and you can find more details on my website, which is trulythrivinglives.org. All right, so I'd love to know, how did you enjoy today's class and what questions do you have for me? You can let me know in the comments below, or if you'd like, you can just save your questions for support group or for coaching. Either way, I look forward to supporting you along your journey. All right, thank you again for attending, and I hope that you have a blessed day.